Brandon. Nice to meet you. My name's Taylor Nicey. I'm an enrollment specialist at the Brampton campus, and it's so lovely to have you here today on our Professor Spotlight to showcase the environmental science program at Algoma U. So I'm going to pass it over to you and ask if you could introduce yourself and give us a little insight into who you are and what led you to the position that you're in today.
Sure. Hi, Taylor. I'm Dr. Brandon Schamp. I'm a professor in both the biology and the environmental science programs at Algoma University on the Sault Ste. Marie campus. I've been a professor at Algoma for about 13 years. As such, I actually helped build both the biology and the environmental science programs. So I feel very connected with the programs. I feel very excited about the programs. I'm more than happy to talk to you about them.
Awesome. Yeah, you would be the one to talk to about them then if you've just been at Algoma for so long and helped build the programs. You must have a favorite class that you instruct, or maybe a couple of them, because you've built some of them, I'm sure. So could you tell us a little bit about a favorite class that you have to instruct?
Sure. So I enjoy teaching in general. Right now I'm the head of the School of Life Sciences and the Environment, which encompasses biology, psychology, and environmental science. So I'm on a slightly reduced teaching load. I teach two courses, and they're core courses in both the biology and the environmental science program. The first course that I would say that I enjoy teaching a great deal is called Principles of Scientific Inquiry. It's less of a discipline-specific course than it is about a course about the nature of science and how science proceeds, scientific reasoning, what is useful about scientific reasoning, how scientific proceeds in a much more detailed way. So instead of just a list of hypotheses, introduction, methods, and materials, there's a lot more going on there. With statistical reasoning, logical reasoning, and the complex nature of deciding between competing hypotheses. So I really enjoy teaching that class. I have students come back to me later and say, you know, that course was really challenging, but now I see the content of that course everywhere. Sometimes I get that from graduates who come back to visit or let me know what they're up to. They say, you know, I see that course everywhere. So I really enjoy teaching that course.
Is that like a third year level course? What year is that?
It's a core course in the second year of both of the programs. It is a challenging course because it's really different than courses that students have taken elsewhere. So it's not a course that they would have. The content is really unusual. So it covers statistics, it covers philosophy, and it covers logic in ways that are not really well covered in the science curriculum. Certainly at the high school level. Some programs are starting to cover it more, but yeah, it's unique in that sense.
Yeah, it sounds like it could be challenging if they're just tackling something that they've never really had to tackle before. But if it's showing up in so many other areas in their studies and their research and their lives later on, like, must be a pretty important topic.
I think so, yeah.
So students love to hear from successful people like yourself of what types of careers can come from this degree.
Sure, right. So the first thing I'll say is that I believe that the skills that we teach in this program are valuable regardless of whether you go on to a career in environmental science. I think learning to think and reason scientifically can be valuable in all aspects of your life and in every job you have. So we emphasize a lot of the basic skills that we believe are foundational for life. You know, good reasoning, like I just talked about, careful logic skills, and we also emphasize good communication skills, and mathematical literacy, or numeracy, you would call it. So those are elements that we think will make sure if students tackle them and make them a priority throughout their program, I think that they'll greatly benefit from that when they go to apply for a job. So, you know, I'll say this to students, and I say it to students frequently, you know, when you go to apply for a job after you leave university, they're not going to pull out your transcript and say, well, I can see you did well in this course, and this course, and this course. It's not really the way it works. You have to show what you learned. You have to show who you've become. And it's the kind of of skills that I was just talking about that you have to demonstrate. And if you have built that portfolio of skills, it'll come through in an application and in an interview. So I think those are the general skills that I believe are ones that we provide in our program. And of course, we provide like a scaffold for the development of those skills, right? So our courses and our programs are structured so that you get repeated exposure to these different kinds of elements and you get feedback along the way for developing them. So the idea there is that over time, you're going to become a better communicator. You're going to become a better at scientific reasoning. So we think those things are important. Job training comes in, of course, and and certainly if you're interested in environmental science, you're going to be applying for jobs that have requirements in, say, fieldwork or chemistry or other elements in lab work. And certainly you'll experience those in the environmental science program, especially conducting lab work or working with professors on research. So there's lots of skills that you can develop through the program, but you can also tailor your program to the types of skills that you would like, right? So if you wish to be better at lab work, you can find the opportunity to do internships that take you into labs, be those research labs of faculty on campus or into working for a company as an intern throughout that. So we provide those opportunities for you to become who you want to be and start to learn and develop in the areas that we think you want to and that will benefit you best.
Could you maybe give a few examples of some of the field work students would do, or some of the co-op jobs that they could apply for as well?
Sure. So the easiest thing for me to do is to talk about what students can do or have done when working with me, because I do environmental science, I do biology, I study plant ecology. So some of the questions that I'm interested in are understanding the rules of nature. So what is it that governs where certain species are found? What is it that determines which species are abundant or which species can be found together and which species cannot be found together? So I have students who go out into the field and measure things like the intensity of competition. They measure the environment, so the environmental chemistry in the soil, to try to better understand and test hypotheses about what could be important or not important in determining both the shape of communities and where those communities will go in the future. This is pretty important stuff to try to understand how the world will look as climate change progresses, for example, and things like that. So increasingly, the world is undergoing some change, and it's important to understand or to have an idea about what it is that govern what nature will look like along that track. So that's just an example of someone working for me, but there are certainly other labs doing different things. So we have researchers who, for example, are trying to understand the nature of complex communication networks in animals, so how they're talking to each other and how that's impacted by the environment and humans. We have people who are trying to look at toxicology in the water to understand how that impacts fish behavior, for example. And we have someone who is looking at the impact of microplastics in the environment and how it affects different organisms. So there's a lot of people in our department that budding environmental scientists could work with and learn some really interesting skills and develop the capacity to be sort of an environmental scientist and conduct their own studies.
That's really cool. And Sault Ste. Marie is such a beautiful place to be diving deep into environmental science and have like all of this nature right at your fingertips.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. I love the Sioux. I'm not from here originally, but I'm an adopted son. I love it here. We've got rivers, lakes. We've got mixed forest close to the city, and then if you just a short ways north, you dive into the boreal forest, which is another beast altogether. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place to live and to study if you're interested in nature.
Yeah, awesome. Do you have any advice for students who are considering this degree?
Yeah, I do. One is the first thing I always tell people is that take the courses that you think are important for becoming the person that you want to be. Because I know personally I avoided certain courses and I kind of regret that, like certain courses because I thought they were going to be too hard or they would be a burden on me for my schedule at the time. And I kind of do regret that. So keep that in mind. The other thing, another bit of advice I would say is try not to be in such a hurry. Students always come to me and they're in a terrible hurry to get somewhere and they don't even, you ask them where they're in a hurry to get to and they often don't know the answer to that. Try not to be in a hurry. Try to take your university as an important part really of your growth as a person. And the third piece to that is related to that, which is to view the years that you spend at university as an opportunity to grow, but don't rely on your coursework to do that, right? Courses are one part of growing into the person that you want to be. So if you want to be a great communicator, taking an English course isn't going to make you a great communicator, right? So, but actively engaging in activities that allow you to develop that capacity, both in your courses and beyond them, are the way to go. So if that's your plan, so come into university with a plan, with a shape of or a list of things you want to develop or characteristics you want to develop and places in your personality or in your abilities that you wish to grow, and then develop a plan both with courses and outside of courses to make sure that you get there, right? Because university is a tool for that growth, but it's not the only tool, and it won't do it alone. You have to decide what you want and work towards it, both within your courses and beyond them.
I couldn't agree more. I think that's a great piece of advice, especially not rushing through university. It really is some of your best years ever, and the amount of growth that happens during those years as well is unbelievable. And yeah, I'm just like reminiscing. I loved university. Uh, do you I wanted to ask also, you being a professor at Algoma specifically, of why do you enjoy instructing at Algoma University? Is it small class sizes, community? I'm sure you have a lot of reasons.
You know, first and foremost, I'm just overjoyed to be in this position, to be a professor. I feel really lucky. It's an amazing job. Like, I'm not trying to, brag or anything like that, but I am very lucky. And I remind myself of that frequently. It's great to have the opportunity to explore. So my job is to explore nature. I think that's super cool. If you told me that as like a kid that my job would be like that, I would have been over the moon. And I love teaching. I've been a teacher in various capacities since I was like 14 and started teaching swimming lessons. So I've taught science to kids in from kindergarten all the way up to grad school, and I genuinely love it. I love talking about these things. I'm still growing. I still look at my work and think, oh, I could improve there. And I think it's great for that reason, because there's not many careers that keep pressing you to grow and expand and push yourself. And this is, I think, one of them, right? So I always feel professors always, it's kind of something that we all know. It's like, you know, the more you learn, the less you know, or the more you realize, the less you know. And there's no job that emphasizes that more than being a professor. So at times, professors feel overwhelmed by how much they don't know, because they're so acutely aware of just how much information out there that they don't know. But it's a great job for encouraging that, and reminding me and professors in general, just that you should keep pushing and keep growing, and that growth can be its own reward.
Awesome. Yeah.
Did I answer your question there? Sorry, I felt like I may have gone off on a tangent, but
Um, no, yeah, no, that's a great answer, because we do love to hear from professors that love to teach. Like it definitely is an art, and showing your passion through teaching and science and stuff like that to the students is what's going to make them also love your courses. So no, that's good. It's good to hear. So my last question for you that I like to ask all professors is, how do you bring the thunder, aka what makes this program at Algoma U so special? So I want to ask you that to end off the interview.
You know, the thing that I think makes our programming special are the people involved, because the people involved feel like me. You know, I have great colleagues, and they push me, and we push each other all the time to keep pressing and keep growing and keep improving the program. So, you know, if I'm thinking like, if I'm you know, needing to motivate myself, I turn to colleagues of mine, like Dr. Foote, like Dr. Dew, like Dr. Antunes, Melina, and
Little shout
Meredith.
out, yeah.
And you know, I see how hard they're working, and I see that they're still pushing, and it motivates me. So and also I'm just I'm motivated by the love of what I do. So it's very easy for me to sort of want to keep going. And you know, there maybe I want to see what I've got under the hood. You know, like what am I capable of? What am I going to leave behind? You know, I remember university was kind of about finding a new gear that I didn't know I had, pushing myself to a new level. And I'm still doing that, right? So I wonder what I've got left. What, you know, what
Yeah.
gears are untapped. So I keep looking to grow that way, and I keep looking to push myself. So that's kind of how I bring the thunder. Just keep looking for the next idea and the next thing that I can do to help and to grow.
Yeah, always improving your just yourself, but your coursework, and for your personal growth and for your professional growth. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, you know, professors are the quintessential students.
Yeah. Always learning.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
They
thank you
refuse
so
to
much.
leave. We refuse to leave school.
Student forever. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on the Algoma University Professor Spotlight, teaching me and prospective students more about the environmental science program. It was a pleasure meeting you today.
It's my pleasure. And for those of you watching, I hope I get a chance to meet you and to work with you in the future. Good luck with your decisions.
Awesome. All right. Have a great day.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.